The following is an excerpt from the According to Metal podcast.
I get the best of the roots under the ice.
That is Under the Ice from Thornbridge off their latest album, What Will Prevail. And this is an album, actually, that we wanted to review about maybe 5-6 weeks ago, as it came out earlier than expected. We didn't get a chance to, and we would be really missing something if we did not listen to this album and fully give you our thoughts on it, because it's something to be heard. If you, these guys are from Germany and have a very German power metal sound to them. I was really, really impressed with this album. I will give you my thoughts here in a little bit, but I'm going to hand it off to Biv and see what he thought about Thornbridge's most recent album. Biv, what did you think?
Well, if you know me, then you know I'm into the German power metal scene. I just, that scene as a whole is right up my alley. And I thoroughly enjoyed this CD. You know, as I was listening to the lyrics, something popped into my head, and follow me on this. Now, I don't mean in any way to say that their sound is like Sabaton. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is these guys are to land warfare lyrically what Sabaton is to naval warfare.
That's a good point. And I will also say that they have a handful of choruses that are very Sabaton-esque in this
They
album.
do. They do. Now, the vocalist doesn't sound, and the style isn't super similar to Sabaton at all. So, again, I'm not trying to make that comparison musically, but lyrically, that's what popped into my head was, you know, if Sabaton decided to do an amphibious assault, they would turn into Thornbridge, you know. So, but I absolutely love the CD. What Will Prevail is probably my favorite track on the CD. But Blow Up the Gates of Hell, The Dragon's Reborn, Under the Ice, of course, which we just played. There's a lot of really good tracks on here, so I also was very impressed. These guys, you know, I'm a fan now. I have to admit, I'm a fan.
I absolutely am too, and I'll tell you what, this was an album that really, really surprised me. And if you are an old school Ed Guy fan, and I'm talking, you know, Theater of Salvation, Mandrake, maybe even Hellfire Club era Ed Guy fan like I am, this is absolutely right up your alley. You're going to be like, oh, hell yes, because this gives you that, you know, straightforward power metal, soaring vocals in some ways, sing-along choruses, very, you know, early 2000s, late 90s Ed Guy. If that's your thing, you're going to absolutely love Thornbridge. I think they do a tremendous job, incredibly talented. There's a couple tracks throughout the album that give me a very, for example, I'll mention actually some of the tracks that Biv mentioned as well. The first four, besides the intro, of course, Blow Up the Gates of Hell, Dragon's Reborn, What Will Prevail, Coachman's Curse. That's a quattro of just really, really solid tracks. And then right after that, you have Symphony of the Battlefield, which is kind of like a 2-minute interlude. And then Eternal Life, Neverwinter Nights, and Under the Ice are also really solid too. I mean, I just mentioned 7 songs that I can say will absolutely be songs that are going to be ones I listen to time and time and time again. Eternal Life, by the way, very, if you're familiar with Theocracy, which I know you are, Biv, very Theocracy feel to Eternal Life. And Neverwinter Nights was I got a lot of Iced Earth from that, which, again, shouldn't surprise you, even though we're not in Germany here, you know, a power metal band like Iced Earth, especially the older stuff, you know, very, you know, chugga-chugga, galloping riff there on Neverwinter Nights. And I get a lot of, vocally, to your point, it's certainly not Joachim from Sabaton, and it's not, you know, Toby from Ed Guy. I kind of think it is more of like a Hansi Kirsch from Blind Guardian vibe every once in a while that I get vocally from him, which, again, not a bad thing there. Just overall an incredibly talented band that I, you know, again, this is, I am now a fan. I am definitely somebody who's going to be telling people, dude, you got to check out Thornbridge. For example, my brother who loves Ed Guy, old school Ed Guy, we've seen them in concert a handful of times. I'm going to play Thornbridge for him. He's like, dude, this is awesome. I just know there are certain bands and certain albums you hear where you think of your friends immediately as you hear them, or family members as you hear them. I heard this album. I thought my brother Nick's going to absolutely dig the hell out of this, and I'm sure he will. Really impressed. Close to a perfect score for me. Not quite there, but a definite 9 out of 10, hands down.
Well, I didn't quite go as high as you did, but it's still an album that is thoroughly enjoyable to me, and it's one I'll continue to listen to. And as you mentioned, there's 6 or 7 tracks on here that could easily be and probably will be in my rotation. I'm going to go 8 out of 10.
Okay, still solid score. Thornbridge. Check out What Will Prevail. If you're a power metal fan, or just metal fan in general, you're going to dig it. To check out the entire episode or previous episodes of the According to Metal podcast, simply click subscribe on iTunes, SoundCloud, or the podcatcher of your choice. It's the According to Metal podcast. Latest news, reviews, interviews, and all things metal. Subscribe. You know you want to. That is, unless, I don't know, you like Coldplay or something.